Hello, family. I'm back with another story that I think you need to know about, especially with everything that's going on right now. This one is woo. This one is packed and loaded. Um, so let's get right on into this. This story is coming from the Washington Post. Legal issues. Key Mueller witness, major Clinton and Trump donor, charged with funneling 3.5 million in illegal contributions. Again, key Mueller witness, they're talking about the Mueller report, major Clinton and Trump donor has been charged with funneling 3.5 million in illegal contributions. Okay, this is from Spencer S. Hisu and Matt Jepotowski, December the 3rd, 2019 at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. A key witness in Special Counsel Robert S. Mueller III's investigation of Russian interference in the 2016 U.S. election has been indicted with 7 others on charges of conspiring to funnel more than $3 million in illegal campaign contributions, the Justice Department announced. George Nader, an advisor to the United Arab Emirates, who acted as an intermediary for members of the Trump campaign seeking to forge contacts in the Middle East, was charged with conspiring to make conduit campaign contributions and related offenses as part of a 53-count indictment unsealed Tuesday in Washington, prosecutors said. U.S. prosecutors also charged Ahmed Andy Khawaja, an a Lebanese American businessman, with 35 counts related to allegations that he conspired with Nader to conceal the source of more than 3.5 million in campaign contributions directed to U.S. political committees associated with presidential candidates. A statement released by the Justice Department did not name the committees or candidates, but federal donor records show that Khawaja is a major political contributor who, since 2016, personally gave $3 million to Democratic candidates and groups, including $1 million to Priorities USA, the main super PAC supporting Hillary Clinton's presidential campaign, and $1 million to President Trump's inaugural fund. So, see, this dude was working both sides of the fence. And what did our elder Nitty Fuller tell us? White supremacy always engages in both sides of the argument. So this guy was working both sides of the fence. He was donating to Hillary Clinton's campaign, and he was donating to Trump's presidential inaugural fund. An attorney for Nader, who has pleaded not guilty and is set to face trial in January in February court in Alexandria, Virginia, on unrelated charges of transporting a 14-year-old boy for sexual activity, declined to comment. Because in 2018, he was also charged with, caught with and charged with child pornography. This Nader guy. An attorney for Khawaja did not respond to requests for comment. According to a written statement by Assistant Attorney General Brian A. Binkzowski of the Justice Department's Criminal Division and FBI Washington Field Office Chief Timothy R. Slater, Nader, 60, and Khawaja, 48, were charged along with Roy Bolus, Rudy Deckermanjian, Muhammad Mo Diab, Rainey L. Sadi, Stephen Hill, and Thane Whipple. The latter 6 were charged with conspiring with Khawaja and each other to make conduit campaign contributions, and conceal excessive contributions and related offenses, U.S. authorities said. Kwaja's donations earned him access to Clinton during the 2016 campaign and a post-election Oval Office visit with Trump, the Associated Press reported in a 2018 investigation. At that time, Kwaja, the payment processing company he founded, Allied Wallet, and top executives had contributed at least $6 million to Democratic and Republican candidates and groups. From March 2016 to January 2017, the indictment alleges Kwaja conspired with Nader to conceal the source of more than $3.5 million in campaign contributions that appeared in the names of Kwaja, his wife, and his company, but that in reality were funded by Nader. As Kwaja and Nader arranged these payments, Nader allegedly reported to an official from a foreign government about his efforts to gain influence, prosecutors said. The indictment also alleges that from March 2016 through 2018, Kwaja conspired with the others to conceal his excessive contributions, which totaled more than $1.8 million to various political committees. Among other things, these contributions allegedly allowed Kwaja to host a private fundraiser for a presidential candidate in 2016 and a private fundraising dinner for an elected official in 2018. So now do you understand what people mean when they say that you can't have politics without money? You can't have politics without economy, without economics. That money runs politics. See, because these people are making all of these major contributions to these different political parties and these different political groups and committees and candidates, they are being granted access that other folks aren't being granted. You understand what I'm saying? So that's the reason why a lot of these groups, like LGBTQ and the Asians and some of these other groups, that's the reason why their agendas are pushed and they get certain tangibles and all of that kind of stuff, is because they can buy politicians. And politicians are for sale, as you can see right here. These politicians are for sale. So because of his more than $1.8 million to various political committees, among other things, these contributions allegedly allowed this man to be able to host a private fundraiser for one presidential candidate in 2016 and a private fundraising dinner for an elected official in 2018. That's the kind of access that this money gets them. Y'all hold on for just 1 minute. I gotta go check something. I'll be right back. Hold on for just a minute. All right. Now, let's continue. The indictment also alleges that this summer, I guess it was the summer of 2019, Kwaja obstructed a grand jury investigation by providing a witness with false information about Nader and his connection to Kwaja's company. The 64-page indictment laid out the sweeping scope of the alleged scheme and the proximity it gave the defendants to individuals whose descriptions appeared to match Clinton, meaning Hillary Clinton, and President Trump. It was a purpose of the conspiracy for Nader and Kwaja to use their access to candidate one to gain favor with and potential financial support from the government of foreign country A, stated the charging document. filed by Public Integrity Section prosecutors with the Justice Department's Criminal Division. The indictment quotes an alleged encrypted message that Nader sent an official from foreign country A via WhatsApp after Khawaja contributed $275,000 and invited Nader to attend an April 16, 2016 event for presidential candidate 1. Now this is him describing presidential candidate 1. Wonderful meeting with the big lady. Can't wait to tell you about it, Nader allegedly wrote, in an apparent reference to Clinton. The indictment noted that political committees that received funding unwittingly submitted false disclosure reports and were presumably victims of the plot. Still, Hillary Clinton apparently attended numerous events, including small gatherings with Nader, who on July 19, 2016, messaged the foreign official a photo of him with candidate 1's spouse. Okay, they've already identified candidate 1 as the big lady, Hillary Clinton. So he's messaged the foreign official a photo of himself with candidate 1's spouse, an apparent reference to Bill Clinton, at Khawaja's home. So allegedly, according to this, we have Hillary Clinton, being invited to all of these numerous events, including small gatherings and all of this kind of stuff, and taking pictures, and her and Bill taking pictures with this Nader dude, and all of this going on at this Khawaja dude's home, and all of this. The indictment referred glancingly to Trump, charging that after the election, Khawaja caused Company A to contribute $1 million to the U.S. President-elect's inaugural committee. Khawaja then obtained tickets and attended Trump's January 2017 presidential inauguration with Nader and Dekamenjian as his guests. You know, this Dekamenjian is one of the ones that was named earlier, one of the 8 that have been charged. In May, however, Khawaja, his company, and 2 other senior company officers agreed to pay $110 million to settle charges that they participated in numerous scams, knowingly processing transactions for merchants engaging in frauds, the Federal Trade Commission announced. So see, this Khawaja has a whole lot of shady criminal stuff going on. But because he was such a major contributor, he was granted access to these presidential candidates and elected officials. You know, even President Trump, after he was elected into office. The federal investigation stemmed in part from the Associated Press's reporting that showed the company aided pornographers, debt collectors, and offshore gamblers to access the international banking system, often through dummy foreign corporations and fake websites. This is Khawaja's company, Allied Wallet. So again, we see the word pornography. Now remember, Nader has been caught with child pornography, and has actually been charged with what was it about this 14-year-old boy? On unrelated charges of transporting a 14-year-old boy for sexual activity. So this Nader dude is into, you know, child sex trafficking, child pornography, and all of this. And this Khawaja's company is into handling money from pornographers. You know, which brings into mind this whole Pizzagate thing that they say the Clintons and others were involved in. and also Clinton and Trump's ties to Jeffrey Epstein, because they have tied, Jeffrey Epstein to Donald Trump and to Bill Clinton, and said that both of them have gone to his, that private island that he had and all of that. And we know that Donald Trump is into um, all types of sexual stuff, all types of sexual misconduct and inappropriate stuff and all of that. So, I mean, the plot just thickens. Okay, so let's keep reading. Early in 2010, Kawaja and his U.S. and British companies forfeited 13.3 million seized by the FBI the previous year to resolve allegations by federal prosecutors in Manhattan that the funds were involved in money laundering in connection with illegal online gambling. So see, this Kawaja dude is involved in just all kinds of shady criminal activity, as far as money laundering and illegal money laundering and schemes and all of this kind of scams and all of this kind of stuff is concerned. But he still, because of his contributions, still has access to presidential candidates and elected a newly elected president. Kawaja, let's make sure we get this right, because they did a little note down here. So I want to make sure we say this right. Hold on. Okay, 2018. All right, let's make sure we got that right. In 2018, Kawaja was appointed by Senator Charles E. Schumer, Democrat from New York, to the U.S. Commission on International Religious Freedom, a bipartisan federal panel. Now, this is after all of these other charges in 2010. This is after, he's been linked to pornographer. This is after he's been linked to these scams. This is after his company has had to forfeit 13.3 million dollars because of being involved in money laundering for illegal offline gambling and all of that. Even after all of this Democratic senator from New York appoints this Kawaja man in 2018 to the U.S. Commission on International Religious Freedom, a bipartisan federal panel. So even before any of this about this misconduct and this crime came up, even before any of this man was already under investigation. The FBI was already investigating him. There had already been charges. The FBI had already been in seizing money and all of this kind of stuff. He had already been connected with gambling and money laundering and pornography and all of this. But this Democratic senator is still going to appoint him to a commission, a U.S. commission. See, that's what money will buy you. That's what money buys these people. Money buys these people a slap on the wrist, a look the other way, and then they get appointed to these positions in the government. Separately, Trump's nonprofit presidential inaugural committee remains under investigation by federal and state prosecutors. The U.S. Attorney's Office for the Southern District of New York in February issued subpoenas to the inaugural committee, which raised a record $117 million. Prosecutors are investigating potential money laundering, bank fraud, and illegal foreign donations connected to the committee. which said it is cooperating with the probe. Now remember, this Khawaja dude donated $1 million to Trump's presidential inauguration fund, right? Nader was seen by Trump allies as a helpful operator for navigating politics in the Middle East. He attracted Mueller's interest for helping arrange a meeting in the Seychelles in January 2017 between Eric Prince, a Trump supporter who founded the private security firm Blackwater, and a Russian official close to President Vladimir Putin. So Nader was the guy that arranged that meeting between Eric Prince and the Russian official. And that's the reason why, he had to go in and testify and became one of the key witnesses in that whole Mueller investigation. Nader later visited the White House several times, meeting with senior advisors Stephen K. Bannon and Jared Kushner. Jared Kushner is Trump's son-in-law, according to people familiar with his visits. Nader came and left the country repeatedly while speaking to Mueller's team last year. He was charged under seal in April 2018 and did not return to the country until this June, when he was arrested at John F. Kennedy International Airport in New York. And that's it. That's the end of that article. Like it ain't enough in that article. So I want y'all to sit back for a minute. We're going to have a moment of silence. And I want y'all to sit back a minute and I want y'all to digest that. I want y'all to digest all that I just read. I want y'all to digest how much these people were able to get away with. You understand what I'm saying? And the amounts of money that they were spending, the amounts of money that they were laundering. You know what I'm saying? All of these illegal business and illegal practices that they were a part of, but yet they were still able to stay under the radar and still be appointed to positions in the U.S. government as foreigners. So, just digest that. Sit back for a minute and digest that. Mentally digest that. Mentally digest the amount of money we're talking about. You understand what I'm saying? This, especially this Khawaja dude and his company. I mean, you got 2010, him and his, his U.S. and British companies had to forfeit $13.3 million seized by the FBI the previous year to resolve allegations by federal prosecutors in Manhattan that the funds were involved in money laundering in connection with illegal online gambling. In May of this year, Khawaja, his company, and two other senior company officers agreed to pay $110 million to settle charges that they participated in numerous scams, knowingly processing transactions for merchants engaging in fraud. The Federal Trade Commission announced the federal investigation stemmed in part from the Associated Press's reporting that showed the company aided pornographers, debt collectors, and offshore gamblers to access the international banking system, often through dummy foreign corporations and fake websites. So see, as long as they could pay off all this big money and pay these folks off, then they didn't face any criminal charges. $110 million to settle charges. When the proof was there that you had committed this stuff, you committed these frauds. You have been a part of these scams, participated in these scams. But because you can pay $110 million, we're going to let you pay that $110 million and we're going to let you go on about your business. We're going to let you pay $13.3 million that was seized by the FBI the previous year. And we're going to let you pay that to resolve allegations by federal prosecutors in Manhattan that these funds were involved in money laundering in connection with illegal online gambling. So as long as you let us keep that 13.3 million that we seized, we're gonna take that and we're gonna let you go on about your business. Even though the evidence is clear that you were involved in money laundering that was collected to in illegal online gambling. And then after all of this, in last year in 2018, we're gonna appoint you, Senator Charles E. Schumer, a Democrat from New York. We're gonna appoint you to a U.S. Commission on International Religious Freedom, a bipartisan federal panel. So we're gonna give you an appointment in the federal in the government, even though even though there's all this evidence out there that you participate in all kind of frauds, that you deal with pornographers, you deal with illegal online gambling, you're laundering money, you're doing all of this. With all of these charges against you and all of this evidence against you, that you are just one huge criminal because you can contribute this type of money to political committees and presidential campaigns and all of this kind of stuff. You have access to Hillary Clinton as a presidential candidate, and you have access to Donald Trump as a newly elected president. And they come into your events and all this kind of stuff and taking pictures with you and other folks that you in cahoots with and all of this. So I just want y'all to digest that. Sit back for just a minute and mentally digest what all these folks are allowed to get away with simply because they have money. That's the only reason, simply because they have money. And then I want you to come back to me and tell me again that you can have politics, that you can have real politics without money. Have you digested it? Has it had enough time to sink in? And neither one of these men were born here. So they're not Native American or American natives, or however you want to put it. I mean, whew, so much. Let's say this. Let me say this again. Kawaja's donations earned him access to Clinton during the 2016 campaign and a post-election Oval Office visit with Trump, the Associated Press reported in a 2018 investigation. That's what his donations earned him. Nader's donations earned him access to Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump. Now we know for a fact that they say Omar Andy Kawaja is a Lebanese American businessman. Let's see if we can find out the nationality of George Nader right quick. Okay, let's see. Okay, he was born in yeah, he was born in Pasadena. George Nader was born in wait a minute, let me get the right one. No, that's another George Nader. This is the George Nader we want. This one was born in Lebanon. Yeah, he's Lebanese. So Ahmed Kawaja. Let's see about Ahmed Kawaja. Let's see his nationality. Okay, Kawaja was born in Pakistan. Yeah, Kawaja was born in Pakistan. So actually, Nader is the Lebanese businessman, and Kawaja was born in Islamabad, Pakistan. When he was 5, his family immigrated to North South Wales, New South Wales, when he was 5. No, 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 no. Yeah, Kawaja was born. All right, we gotta make sure we're talking about the right one. Let's make sure we're talking about the right guy, because I don't want to put out any false information. Yeah, y'all, I'm looking it up because I don't want to put out any false information. Okay, and you also need to know that George Nader was an emissary for the Crown Prince Mohammed bin Zayed of the United Arab Emirates. So back in 2016, he was that's what he was. He was an emissary to the Crown Prince. Oh, this is another good one. This is the article in the New York Times. Indictment details how Emirates sought influence in 2016 campaign. In charges unsealed this week, the Justice Department laid out new elements of an effort by an American ally to buy access in Washington. Okay. And they talk in this. I'm gonna link this article, but in this article they talk about how they refer to Hillary Clinton as our sister or the big lady. That's how they referred to her when they sent messages back and forth to each other. Okay, I'm still trying to see exactly where Omar is from. Kawaja, or whatever his name is. I'm still trying to see, but I'm gonna link this article as well because this article provides even more detailed information. But we see that George Nader is actually the Lebanese gentleman, the Lebanese American businessman. Now we got to see, and one search of his name, this Kawaja. One search of his name says that he's from Pakistan, but I'm not exactly sure that that's the same guy. So I just want to be sure that we got the right guy. Because, like I said, I'm not trying to put out any misinformation. Oh yes, this stuff is very, very interesting. It's very interesting. So it looks like everybody was colluding with everybody. Not only was Trump possibly colluding with Russia, but it looks like everybody was colluding with everybody, and these folks were trying to buy other folks access and influence and all that in the 2016 presidential campaign. So it ain't no telling who was doing what. All we know for sure at this point was that some big money was involved, and folks were willing to pay some big money. Okay, it says the Lebanese born Kawaja. So I guess Kawaja was from Lebanon too. So that Kawaja up there was different. Yeah, so he was from Lebanon too. The Lebanese, the Lebanese born Kawaja gave more than 4 million to Clinton's failed presidential campaign. So both of these men were Lebanese born businessmen that lived in America. And I mean, they were putting out some big money. They were putting out some big money. You understand what I'm saying? But they were also involved in a whole lot of criminal, shady activity from the very beginning. I mean, as far back as 2010, you know, we hear about in the Washington Post as far back as 2010. They talk about, the kind of charges and all this kind of stuff that was being leveled against this Kawaja dude. But like I said, because of money, he still had access to a presidential candidate and a newly elected president. So, like I said, I'll link these articles in the description box. But I brought this information to your attention for two reasons. One, to dispel that whole myth that you can have any kind of real politics without money. You got to have some money. You got to have an economic base. And that's one of the things that Black people have been missing for years is a real economic base. We don't have any money to put behind what we say. We don't have any money to put behind our demands. And that's one of the reasons why they want to keep us so economically destitute, and they want to keep us, in abject poverty, is so that we won't have the money. We won't have the economics that you need to practice real politics. So that's the first reason why I brought you this, is to dispel that foolishness that you can have any kind of real politics without money. Money is politics. Politics is money. So black folks, we got to get our economic base together. We got to get our money up. And how do we do that? The same way these other groups do it, by practicing group economics, by keeping our money in our community, and stop spending all of our money outside of our community in other businesses and with other groups, and keep our money in our communities by supporting each other, supporting black businesses, starting black businesses, helping each other to start black businesses, pooling our resources together to fund projects. You understand? To open businesses, to buy land, and keeping our money in our community. We are the biggest consumers in the United States. But yet our communities are in poverty. Why? Because we spend, and we spend all that money outside of our own community. So that's what we're going to have to do. While we're waiting for these folks to realize that we're not playing with them, that we're not going to vote until they give us some tangibles, that we're not going to vote until they come to us with a real, legitimate black agenda, something that is specifically for foundational black Americans. While we wait for that, what we need to be doing is building our economic base. Putting some money, some real money, in the black community. That's the first reason why I brought this to you. The second reason why I brought this to you is to remind you that no matter what these folks do, as long as they got enough money, they'll get away with it. Not only will they get away with it, but they'll get away with it, and then they'll be appointed to positions in the government. And we're talking about both sides of the aisle. You understand what I'm saying? These people were working both sides against the middle. They were over here donating to the Democrats and over here donating to the Republicans, which further proves what we've been saying all this time. That the Democrats and the Republicans are just two sides of the same coin. They're just two wings of the same bird, that white supremacist bird. They're both a part of the exact same system. One side may be a little bit more bold, a little bit more in your face with their racism, their discrimination, whatever. And the other side may be more covert, which means more undercover. But just like every bird has two wings, the white supremacy bird has two wings. The left wing and the right wing. The Democrats and the Republicans. So while the Democrats up there with all of this foolishness about they're going to impeach Donald Trump and impeachment hearings and all of this kind of stuff, we find that all of them are playing the same game. All of them are playing the same game. And it's a money game. All of them are playing the same game. And they so busy playing the game that, and because we don't have an economic base, because we don't have money, because we're not taken seriously in anything. And because all these years, we have just given our loyalty to the Democrats, and we've just given our vote to the Democrats and just been satisfied with nothing, or just been satisfied with the fact that maybe they got one black person in office, or one black congressman here, or one black senator there, or whatever, and we've just been willing to just keep on with the same mess and not getting anything in return until they're not taking us seriously right now. For two reasons. Like I said, why? One, we lack any money. We lack an economic base. We lack to be able to really, really go in and say, look, this is what we want, and this is how much we're going to put behind it. And because we've been going along with business as usual for the last 50, 60 years, so why should they take us seriously now? So with everything that they got going on, that's the reason why they're pushing all this LGBT stuff, and they're pushing all this, this immigration stuff, and all of these benefits and all of these programs and everything for these illegal aliens, folks that are not even citizens. Why? Because those people have an economic base. Those people know how to come together and pool their money together. Those people know how to put some money where their mouth is. So I brought you this information because this shows more than anything that until we get our stuff together, until we get our situation together in our community, and until we start coming together, pooling together, working together, practicing group economics, and building that economic base and building that money in our own communities, we need to sit out all of this democratic process. We need to sit out all of this trying to participate in politics and voting and all of that. We need to sit all of that out. We need to sit it out. We don't need to be involved in the process because we don't yet have what it takes to really be taken seriously in the process. So we need to sit it out for a while. And we need to get our game up. We need to get our money up. We need to get our economics up. We need to get over, like I said, all of that crab in the bucket mentality and all of that piss poor slave mentality. And we need to start working together, pooling our resources together, keeping our money in our community and building. On top of not voting, period. Local, state, national, no voting, period. We need to stay codified on that. We need to stay unified on that. We need to be one collective, huge voice on that. No voting, period, anywhere. We don't need to be a part of this process at all until we're ready to come out swinging. And until we have made it clear that until we are recognized, you understand what I'm saying? Until we are recognized, until we are respected, until people stop disregarding us, disrespecting us, ignoring us, and start taking us serious and realizing, okay, they're serious now. We got to produce a Black agenda. We're not voting. We're not participating in your process. And it's not because we're not doing anything. It's not because we're sitting here doing nothing. No, we're over here building. We're over here doing what we need to do to play catch up. Because there's no rush. We got time. As long as we're building while we wait. While we wait for them to finally get that we're no longer playing. We're no longer tolerating the status quo. We're no longer tolerating business as usual. And again, I want to bring something else too. I want to bring to you, I mean, look at the people that we have running our country. Look at the people we have running our country, the people that we have making our laws and our policies and all that. We got all of these people, and all of these folks are connected with each other and all of this, and all of them are connected with pornography and child pornography and child sex trafficking and like I said, the Clintons have already been connected with that whole Pizzagate thing, and all of them, the Clintons and Trump and all of them have been connected with Jeffrey Epstein and all of that sex trafficking and all of that trafficking in children and all that he had going on and all of that. I mean, these are the people and these are the people that we elect. These are the people that we put our support behind. These are the people that we just hand our vote over to. These kind of deviant degenerates. Because they have so much money to buy and sell loyalty, access, whatever, until they just they buy and sell people, children. So we need to step back for a minute and we need to think: are these the people that we want to put our support behind anyway? Are these the type of people that we want to vote for? Are these the type of people that we really want to be in power? Are these the type of people that we really want to have sitting somewhere making our laws and our policies? And that goes for Democrat and Republican. Because, like I said, they're one and the same. Trump is a Republican. The Clintons are Democrats. But they all had a relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. They all have somehow or another been connected with or named in connection with or linked to or something that had something to do with something to do with sex, with child sex trafficking. So no, these are not the people that we want to support. So again, we need to sit the process out. We need to be serious about that. We need to sit the process out. Let the chips fall where they may. Let them folks work that mess out. And we need to stay out of it while we over here building our economy and building our economic base. But again, all of these articles will be linked in the description box. Like I said, I wanted to bring you this because this is important. And we need to know what's really going on. We need to know, who's really involved in stuff and how they're working and how they're operating and how they're maneuvering behind the scenes. We really need to know. And we really need these kind of stories to show us that there's really no difference between Republican and Democrat. None whatsoever. So, yeah, you guys read these stories, read these articles, and let's leave this process to them and let's work on building. You guys have a good night.